Okay, let me just compile and run. It's compiling. Okay, now our programs have compiled successfully. Now submit final. Okay, now our submission against prior test cases are successful. Okay, let us read our question. Digit pair. Given n 3-digit numbers means we will be given n 3-digit number, means in a list we will have only 3-digit numbers, and your task is to find the bit score of all n numbers and to print the number of pairs possible based on this calculated bit score. So here we are basically given the two conditions, like rule 1. From the 3-digit number, first we have to take the largest digit and then multiply it by 11. Then we have to take the smallest digit and multiply it by 7. Then we have to just sum up both of them. And then when we got our result, if we get anything that is containing 3 digits, we have to just remove the first digit. Like here, when we are going to multiply and sum them up, we got 102 and it is a 3-digit number, so we are going to remove the most significant bit, that is nothing else than our first digit, that is 1, so we removed 1. But when we get only 2-digit number, like in this case 40, we are going to take 40 as it is. And next condition is of making pairs from the above calculated bit score. And what we have to do here, both bit scores should be either in odd position or in even position to be eligible to form pair. Like they should be in either odd or even position of in the form of index in which they are, so that they can form a pair. And pairs can only be made if the first digit of both the characters are same, like of 19 and 12 both have 1 at the very starting digit, so the digit pair can be formed. And but there is one more constraint here. At most 2 pairs can be made with the given significant digits. Like if we have 1 as the most significant digit, there can be only 2 pairs made, like 12 and 13 and 12 and 15. We can't make 12 and 19 because 12 and 13 and 12 and 14 are already made. So with one bit, only 2 possible things can be made. So now let us just simply try to see how we can solve this question. Okay, let us think that this is our given array. And so from this array, what we have to do, first with 2, 3 and 4, we have to find what is the largest and the smallest in this. So in this case, the smallest number will be 2 and the largest number will be 4. And according to the question, we have to multiply 4 with 11 and 2 with 7. And then what we have to do, we have to simply add what we are going to get. And 4 into 11, we are going to get 44, and 7 into 2, we are going to get 14. And when we are going to add, we are going to get 58. So like this, we keep on going through our list and finding max, min, and multiplying the max with 11 and multiplying the min with 7 and adding them, and we keep on getting these numbers. So for 2, 3, 4, we get 58. For this 5, 6, 7, we get 12. Or if we get any number, like we get 120, then what we are going to do, we are going to just remove this 1. We are just simply going to take 20. And if we get like 102, we are going to remove 1 and we are going to save 02 or 01, like here we have saved it. So this is our basically the first step in our program, to find the max and the min of every number and then multiply them with 11 and then multiply with 7 and add them to form a new list. So once you have done that, let me simply remove. Okay, now let's assume we have done all those steps and we have ended up with this list. And now we have to find the pairs. So according to the question, pairs can only be formed if they are either in odd position or in even position and their starting digits should be same. So in this example, for odd pair, it will be 58, 40, 40, 19, 44, 44 and like that. So let us just simply say If the first digit is 5 and we have to check, like here the first digit is 5, no it is not, here it is 5, no it is not, here, so of course we keep on finding at only, we have to check only and only at the odd position. We are not going to check here because it is not at odd position, it is at even position, it is 1, it is 2, it is 3 and so on. So we are going to check only at even position for 5, and if we encountered anything, so first we did not encounter anything, but when we moved to 40 we check 40, okay, 40, so we said okay, increase our pair with 1. Then we check one more, 4 and 44, and we say okay, increment it to 2. Then again we encountered 44, but we know we are allowed to just make only 2 pairs, not more than that, so we make 2 pair here and we just decline this pair, and we just stopped searching for 4 because we already have 2. So like this we are going to do it for everything. For 19 we are going to check, okay, now here the first digit is 1, so is there one, like here, I don't think, here and here, so we did not find any one here, so we keep on checking like this, and once we are done with these, and then we are simply going to check it for even number, like for 12, 76, 11 we are going to check like 12, is there one here, of course it is not, so we are going to move forward at even position, not as any other position, at even position, and we are going to see okay, here is one, so 1 and 1, it is going to make one more pair, so we are adding 1, and then we are moving forward, not to this 19, to this 18, to and again we find, then we incremented it to 2, and then 83, 87, 87, so we did not find any one. Then we move forward to 76 and started searching for 7 in this list, and then again we are not going to 1 because 1 is already counted, we just simply jumped to 8 here, and from 8 we checked like 8 and 8, of course, then we incremented this 1, and for 8 and 8 we incremented it to 2 because there are one pair and one more pair, but there's one more pair here, but when 2 pairs are already made we are not allowed to make any other pair. So this is how we are going to do, and we are just going to simply add all those count at the very end to just simply say how many total number of pairs can be made. So this is how we are going to do. Now let's dive a little deep how we are actually going to write a algo for this. Let me clear it out. Okay, so now let's see how we are going to approach this problem. The first thing that we are going to do, we have to just find the min and max from here, and we have to do some basic arithmetic calculation to just get these numbers. Doing this step is pretty much very easy, so we are not going to focus much here at first. First, let us just try to see how we are going to find the count. So once you get this array, after just finding max, min and multiplying and adding these numbers, we are going to find every odd position and going to save it in a list or array as based on your programming language, and we are going to find all the even indexes and we have to place it in different lists so that our task get more easier. So first we just took 58 and then 58, 40, 40, 19, 44, and then just keep on adding in this list, and all the things that is remained like 12, 76, 11 are just going to come in our even list. So after doing all these steps, now we have got our odd and even list, and with the help of odd and even list we can just simply check. For starting with 5, we can check 5 if there is 5 in this next index. Of course there is no 5, so we can just check here, check here, check here, check here, check. We checked all those, there is no 5 there, so we are not going to increment our count, which is initially 0, and it is still 0. But when we came at 40 and then checked 40, okay, now one pair is possible, so we increment our count to 1, and then we moved our pointer from 40 to 44 to 40, this 40, and then we checked this. Of course there is one more 4, so we incremented our counter to 2, and then when we checked one more 44, but according to question you can't make pairs of similar bit more than 2 times, so we are going to stop at 2 and we are not going to include this 44, so only 2 count. Then we move to 40. Of course 40 is already done, so we are not going to increment it any further. So here comes our 19, and here the most significant bit is 1. We are going to check for 1 in this list. There is no 1, so we are not going to do anything. For 44 it is already done. 4 it is done. For 69 6 is here, but no more 6 is anywhere, so we are going to move for 83, and 83 we found 8 here, 8 here. We are going to increment it, count to 3, then 83 no more 8 here, so we are going to increment to 2, and then here 2, only 1 2 possible here, so we are going to increment this to 4. Till now we have only 4 possible combinations that are made with the numbers. We have to remember these numbers. It is made with the number 4, which is more than 3 times, and the 6 with 0 times, 8 1 times, and 2 1 times. We have to remember this number because we are not allowed to make any more pairs. Like if in this case any more 4 comes here, we are not going to simply count it, we are just simply going to neglect it. And if there are 2 pairs of it, then we are simply going to check for 1. So let's see, like here we see 1, but the pairs of 1 are 1 1 1. There are 3 pairs, so we are simply going for 1, it is 3. For 1 there are 3 number of pairs possible, and then the counting will be incremented to 2, and then we move to 7, and 7 there is no 7 in this list, so we are not going to include anything else, and we are not going to either increment our counter. Then we move to 11. Of course the 1 is already done, so we are not going to do anything with the 1. And then here come our 83 87. There are 3 times, so we are just for 1 pair and 1 pair. When we found the first pair of 83 and 87, we are just simply going to increment it to 2. It is now 2 times, and we are going to increment our counter to 3. Then when we are going to increment 87 and 87 here, we will see that of course it is already of 2 times, and we are not allowed to increment our pointer because we are not allowed to make any pairs more than 2 times. 1 pair of 83 and 83 is made here, 1 more is 83 and 87 here, so we can't make 83 and 87. Well, we are basically going to see this more clearly in code, but I think you understand here. Then we are going to see of 23 and 23. Of course 2 pair is only made once, so we can make it 1 more time, and we can increment our counter to 4. So it is 4 now, and it will also increment to 2. So now 2 is made 2 times. Now we are going to move forward 0. Of course 0 1 0 1 it can be made, and the 0 will be of 1 time, and we are going to increment our counter to 5, and we are going to add 5 plus this 4. Number of pairs in odd and number of pairs in even, which will be equal to 5 plus 4, which will be equal to 9. So this is how our code is basically going to work. We are going to code in Python so that things may get more clear to you when you are going to see the code. So let's see. Okay, here we are just simply taking the input in the very first line. Then this input just basically signifies our this 8, and then we are just breaking our list. This entire, we are just taking this input as a string, as a long string. Then we are basically splitting them like 2 3 4 3 5 5 6 7 as a individual elements there, and then we are initializing an empty array with name all, or array or Python, whatever you want to say. Then we are indexing through our list, like for I in LST, which is this is our list. So we are first I will be 2 3 and 7 2 3 and 4. So I is 2 3 and 4, we are going to 2 3 4 5 6 7 and things like that. And then m is equal to int max. Here list of I, what is this going to do? It is basically going to split this in 2 3 and 4. So 2 3 and 4 will be splitted individually, 2 3 4. Then we are going to find the max in 2 3 4, that will be 4. Till here it will be 4, and the 4 will be in string. And then so we have to multiply this with 11. So we are going to convert our 4 to an integer by this int function. So I think the things is clear. First we are simply splitting 2 3 4 into individual as an individual element like 2, 3, 4, then we are finding the max. In this case it will be 4, and then we are simply changing it to an integer so that when we multiply, the multiplication is possible. Or else if you are going to simply multiply 4 as a string to 11, it is going to simply say 4 11 times. So we have to convert it as an integer to perform arithmetic operation. And same is the case by finding the minimum. We simply splitted our 2, 3, 4 as an individual element and then just found the minimum and converted it to an integer form and then multiplied it with 7. So till here our multiplication is done, and then we are simply going to use add. Add is basically going to add m and s, means the maximum multiplied by 11 and the minimum multiplied by 7. So after adding it, if the length, we are simply converting this add again to a string so that we can find the length. And if the length is greater than 2, means if it is number like 102, then its length will be greater than 2, it will be equal to 3. So when it is greater than, we are simply converting it back to string so that we can use this -2. And -2 just means leave the first letter and then take from back, just take the last 2 digits. -2 just basically means taking anything from the very back. And then we are simply going to append everything in our list, and here add will be simply string, it won't be integer form. And till here what we have done, till here we basically just got this list, and now our next step is to find this odd and this even. So for doing that, we basically simply wrote this single one line list comprehension code. And what does this code say? For x in range 0 to length of all, to all the length of this elements, comma 2 means we have to increment by 2, and it is starting from 0, so it will contain like 1, 3, 5, 7 like that, and so we are incrementing it by 2, just taking all the odd numbers in the odd list. As you know, array indexing starts from zeros, so we are starting from 0, but in real world it is actually 1, so it is odd. It's a little bit confusing there, but you understand it. And we are doing the same with this even one. We are simply converting we are just simply taking all the even numbers and then we are simply adding it to our even list. So by the end of this code, till here we will have these two lists here, odd and even. We would have easily separated because 52, 40, 40, this is why we are incrementing by 2, and starting from array index 0 we are simply getting at odd, and starting at the index 1 in our loop we are taking 1, then incrementing 2, 11, and just to collect this. So till now we would have got this. Here we are starting with 0, here we are starting with 1, and we are incrementing 2 in both of the case. Then our next task is to find the most significant digit and then check if it's there in our array or not. So for that we are simply using a dictionary D, which is going to keep the track of every character or every first digit number and its number of occurrences in the given list. So for I in digit, in first case we are simply calling pair of odd, which is simply going to pass this odd list to our function. And for every list, like if here you can say 58, 40, 40, 19, and this is our list of all odd number, and every I will be like 58 first time, and I will be 40, 40, 19, 44, and things like that. And then what we are going to do, we are simply going to convert this 58 into a string, and we are going to take the first digit. In this case it will be 0, and we are going to check if this is already present in our dictionary or not. So here we are initializing the empty dictionary, so it won't be present in our dictionary at the very first, so it will just go to this statement, it is not in dictionary. And then we are simply initializing 5 occurred how many times, 5 have just occurred, we have just seen the 5, so we are incrementing it to 1. Then we are going to go to 40. Then here at 40 we have not seen 4, we are simply going to get here and we are going to initialize dictionary of value 4, and it will be having 1. But again when it comes to this 40, it already will be in our dictionary, so we are simply going to increment it, like 40 comes 2 times. then it will go for 19. For 1 it will just initialize 1 to 1. What this is basically doing, let me just simply show you. This here it is basically doing our this task. This is basically like for 5 it is saying okay, 5 have occurred how many times in this list. It will occurred one time. 4 you have occurred how many times? 1 2 3 4. Of course 4 you have occurred 4 times. And 1, how many times 1 have occurred? 1 have occurred 1 times, and things like that. It will just do the same with even list as well as it will do the same with odd list. So it is basically how our dictionary is going to have. This will be the key and this will be the value. This will be the element and this will be the number of occurrences of it. So here we can simply see if word have occurred one time, we don't give any set to it. And if it occurred 2 times, then we can say of course one pair can be formed. But when it is formed like 8 times, 5 times, or anything which is just greater than 2, we are just simply going to say if you are greater than 2, you can just make 2 pairs. So this is the logic that we are going to use next. Till here we got our dictionary updated, and here we are just initializing an empty array with maximum of 10 numbers. And we are initializing an empty array, it will just have, let me 0 10, it will just have 0 0 0 0 10 times at the very beginning. This will be our array A at the very first, and then we are going to go a loop for d in keys. So and if it is greater than 1, then we are simply adding it to our array. And where we are adding, you have to be sure that k will be first any number like 4 5 6 or things like that. So we are basically converting it to an integer. Let me show you here. Like k will be this 5, but it will be a string. So array does not support a string indexing, of course. So we are converting this 5 into an integer, and we are storing like 5 how many times you have occurred. So in an array at the index 5, it will save 1, and for index 4 it will save 4. This is what our code is literally doing here. It is basically going to all our keys and storing how many number of times particular thing have occurred. We are just simply clearing our dictionary so that we can just simply store our next values from our even list. And we are just simply passing our pair to even. We are simply passing it to our even function, and when it will pass to our even function to this, it is basically going to create another dictionary, like saying value of 1, it will be of 1 2 3 however times 1 comes. For 7 it will just say 7 comes 1 time, and it will make a dictionary for d like this. So after this code we would have those dictionary, and then after this code we would get the dictionary. Then again we are doing the same thing here, but in this case we are adding, like here, let me just simply show you. In our array of a, 8 have occurred in even 1 times, and 8 occurred in odd also for 2 times. So we are simply going to add 2 plus 1, it is going to make 3. And if 4 have occurred 1 time in odd and 1 time in even, so for 1 it will just simply add up 1 and it will make up 2. So this is what we are basically doing on our code here. If d in k, for int k we are simply adding the previous value that is in our answer to our latest value in our dictionary frequency, like what frequency of this is there. And then we till here we would have this list, like every number of occurrences in our list, like you have occurred 2 times, you have occurred 1 times, you have occurred 4 times, and like that. And then we are going to simply add all those counts. But here we have to make sure if the count is equal to 2, then only it is going to be 1, and if it is anything greater than 2, it will be going to be just 2. So this logic we are simply going to apply here. Here you can see if I is for I in answer, so I will be just here for I will be 2 2 3, and we are simply going to keep on checking them. So if I is equal to 2, then counter will be incremented to 1, and if I is greater than 2, it can be any number greater than 2, it have to just increment it by 2. So by the end of this loop, we will have just counted our occurrences of every digit number that our question asked. So let me just simply delete this, and let me just simply show you that this code is actually working, but I showed you on the platform. This is the same code here, and let me just simply copy paste it. And of course this is giving 9, and this is the code for this video. I hope you understand anything from this video and you gain some information out of it, and if you did so, please make sure to like to our video and subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.